do you think because of, the fact that MCC and Halo 5 launched poorly, and it's now been, depending on how you want to look at it, if your last satisfied Halo release was Halo 4, it's been, 9 years. Is that right?
Long years.
9 years. So do you think the bar that they have to hit with Halo Infinite is now lower because of so many years of what people, I'm not trying to say this in a way where I'm like, so many years of disappointment. That sounds awful. That sounds like we're being mean because, there's so much me and Josh love about Halo 5 and obviously MCC, which now is just this amazing product.
Like the bar is almost, the expectations are a little bit less higher because people have been used to the way things have been is kind of normal.
Yeah, so for instance, like let's say when Halo 5 was about to come out, let's say most people expected it would be at least an 8 out of 10 game or something like that. Mm-hmm. And like that would, they had to at least, or maybe no, honestly, to probably be fair, people were probably expecting more like a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 game, But now that we have all these years passed and people, a lot of people weren't happy with 5 and
right.
Some people weren't happy with 4 even. And of course, you can even wrap in, to be more fair, you could wrap in Reach into this, because Reach is kind of where the game started becoming, going off to the side and including equipment and all this, sprint that was kind of uneven and stuff. Do you think now the bar has been lowered so that if Infinite can just come out and work at launch and have competent multiplayer and a competent campaign and story that is decent, do you think that's going to be enough to make them very successful just coming out? Do you think the bar's lower is what I'm trying to get to?
Yes. Yeah, in some senses, because I think people are so excited for this game for a multitude of reasons that they are willing to accept some things that should be, I think, unacceptable. Not unforgivable or anything like that, too harshly, but something like co-op, I'm still a bit hung up over. And obviously, again, I say that for in case anyone hasn't listened to this before. I still think co-op is something that they should have delayed to make sure that gets in their launch, because that's just been there in every Halo. But that being said, this is such a bigger Halo game. We still don't quite know fully how big it is until we really play the campaign. So it's understandable in a lot more ways that this is the one that does it, but I still think that's something you shouldn't have bit the bullet on. So I see a lot of people out there that are still really excited for this game, and it hasn't killed their excitement, and that's good. But sometimes that's a little bit of some of it, depending on the people out there and just the Twitterverse, the just internet. Sometimes it's a bit of blind hype because they're just so excited to play it. And in one sense, psychologically, I get it. It comes from a place of this game looks beautiful. You like where the narrative looks like it's going. The flight has played really good for you. You've had a fun time. Everything seems to be fun. What's there and what you can experience. But I think for other people, it's less sometimes about the actual gameplay too, and more about the memories, the making an event out of it too.
I think you've more or less covered it, Josh, and maybe not in the way you expected, but I think kind of what you've said there is they've bought themselves a lot of goodwill with just bringing the game back to a classic art style, classic enemies, classic Halo ring setting. That after so much disappointment for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And then having it move towards this classic art style and classic enemies and all that stuff, I think they've bought a lot of goodwill just on that, and then how the flights have turned out, that people are more accepting of Halo coming out with some missing features and stuff. And I think if the story to the campaign is just base level good, decent, better than average but nothing special, once again I think that's going to be enough for people. I don't think it has to. I think the bar has been lowered, which that sounds negative when you put it that way, but it's serving as a benefit. 2, 3, 4, 3 right now, honestly. So
no, I agree, and I think you're right. As long as the game honestly just turns out fun. We've seen the multiplayer be fun. People are really enjoying the fact that there's bots in there. That's really cool. But I think everyone's just really excited for the campaign now, because when you play the multiplayer, it gives you at least an idea of what the game's going to play like. Fundamentally, so that's exciting. It's exciting, even though we haven't really gotten to see a refresh on what that's going to look like. But I'm sure we will, probably very, very soon, because it's crazy. We got just a little bit over 2 months now until this game comes out finally, which is
crazy.
what, 8 more episodes roughly for us? That's just
I don't
insane
think it'll
to
hit
about.
me until we're like the week before or the week of, because for me, Halo Infinite's just been this talking point on our podcast.
Always been in limbo. It's always been just beyond our reach, right?
It's never really, like, you know, I'm not somebody who gets obsessively, like, I don't obsessively wait for games like I used to when I was younger, so, like, it's just kind of been this thing in the background that we talk about for a long time, and, like, it's like my mind, it almost decided, like, yeah, it's gonna release, but, you know, who knows when, so it's just out there in the ether, just kind of floating.
No,
and now, once it's here...
I don't blame anyone for, like, being the opposite, but I'm also in the same boat because I think, you know, cool. It's like, this game's, you know, like I said, I kind of forgot the release date. I knew it was December, but I forgot when, and so for me, it was like, cool, I'm just going to play the flight. I'm going to do other stuff until then, and when it gets closer, that's when I'll start really getting myself psyched up and stuff like that, fired up.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that's a good question you brought up, though, Brian. I think that poses a lot of deep thought with that kind of stuff, because, I mean, I really just, I mean, I already summed it up, but I mean, I know I'm going to enjoy it. Like, as soon as I play the game, dude, I'm not going to give a shit about the fact that co-op's not there. But I think ultimately it sucks because it's like how much we're willing to accept because the game looks pretty, the game's fun to play, we waited long enough that we're so anxious to play it now in the midst of a pandemic. It's like I think people need this game more than they even want it. And I think that causes a problem in some ways, but I also understand that 343, I think you said in another episode, which was perfect, dude, but you said something like, you know, imagine how good it's going to feel for 343 to get this out, just because they've been working on it for so long. They deserve to see how people take to this.
Like, if fans feel like, you know, is this game ever going to come out? I can't imagine what they feel like. They've seen it daily for years and just continues to not come out. And
you know they're going to get fucked up the night of launch.
Oh, right.
They're going to throw a huge party, probably.
You just see, like, 343 tweets that are just, like, make no sense because they're just blacked out, drunk out of their mind.
Yeah, some 343 guy just tweets, like, a street address.
It's just like David Ellis. David Ellis just filling the character limit with saying "over yonder" over and over again. Over yonder, over yonder, over yonder.
Yeah, or someone just tweets out like McDonald's, 7th Street.
Tweets me, yeah.
I say that because we have a mutual friend, guys, that we both used to work with, and this guy would get so drunk sometimes he'd post stuff on Facebook that would just randomly have like an address for where he wanted a friend to pick him up. Like, he thought he was messaging the people, but it was his Facebook status.
Whack, dude.
The Lord in heaven bless him. Oh dear.
But I think if you combine the bar being lowered from like the past, if you combine that with the fact of how many people are going to come into Infinite who weren't Halo fans already, I think a lot of the criticisms of 343 will get watered down, which is really beneficial for them because, you know, like, for instance, if it's been 6 years since Halo 5, it's been 9 years since Halo 4. I mean, and since this game's free to play, and it's going to be, you know, it's in the era of Twitch streaming and everything, which we'll get into here in a bit. I think there's going to be a lot of kids who just pick this game up because it's free. It's like, oh, Halo, I've heard of that before. Let's try this new thing, you know, and they download it and they play it and they Twitch stream it. And I think a lot of the baggage that 343 had is going to get left in the past, provided this game just comes out and works, which I think it will. With all this, the way they're doing this lighting, if it doesn't work, it's going to be shocking.
I know, that's going to be my only like hang up, my anxiously like speaking. But you're right, dude. I mean, you think about kids getting this on Christmas or getting an Xbox Series X or Series S that the parents can manage to snag. Well, any Xbox, right? Because you can play it on any one,
or PC.
Right. So, but yeah, point is, I'm trying to make, to summarize, guys, is imagine a kid getting an Xbox for Christmas, getting Game Pass. They already have internet at the house and everything. Microsoft is going to want that game to be available for these kids to play. So it's a new title. You got to jump in with new people. They know that stuff always surges around the holidays. There's always like outages, or there's always like just surges in the user base because of this, because of Christmas releases and holiday stuff. So getting this out a couple weeks beforehand gives them time to probably iron out any launch kinks they need to and get that game smooth as butter and prep for the Christmas rush. That's what I think.